most of you already know VR a little bit, and you may agree with me that the first time that you are in VR, it's just unforgettable. So I remember the first time I tried VR 6 years ago, and it was an underwater experience. I don't know if you have tried already the blue. That's that big whale that suddenly appears in front of you, and that sound of the whales. And given I'm from the educational field, I said, wow, that's really gonna impact education and how we get engaged with the content. So what I felt at that moment is what we call immersion and presence. So when you are in VR and that you feel that that's almost a real environment around you, and our brain has this trick to partially understand that virtual content as real, and we have these physiological responses to it, is what we call immersion and presence. And I remember that my students, the ones that were more immersed in the content, in the classes, that they were present, they were the ones to have higher achievement. So I just thought like, well, VR for education may help them to improve their achievements. And as a PhD student, the first thing I did was to start to look for research on VR learning applications. And what I found was that VR was being used especially for 5 kinds of uses. One, that's the formal education, K-12 and higher education, to training motor skills in sports, for corporate education, especially training purposes on safety, for example. A lot of research on using VR for the medical field, especially on educational, medical education, and also for environmental education. And after reviewing more than 5,000 papers, the question I had was why there are so much variation on the results. Some of the studies reporting a high improvement on learning using VR, some of them not reporting any improvement, and some of them even saying that VR was worse than using a television, for example. And after reviewing so many papers, I just found out that the nature of the knowledge that we are tapping into is very important when we are considering VR. So for example, when we are training for sports, motor skills, or when we are training for some procedures inside a company or procedures in the medical field, we call that procedural knowledge. And for this kind of knowledge, we have a high impact, positive impact of VR. And it makes a lot of sense because you can move around, you can repeat movements, you can repeat the procedure, and then you improve your procedural memory. And when we are talking about, curriculum content, some of science, history, geography, or even environmental education, we are tapping more on the conceptual knowledge. That means that we are looking for information, new information, and link this information with previous information we already have. And that requires a different brain cognitive processes. So the VR experience should be different. So that's the point that we are now. And so when we are considering VR for training and learning purposes, we should definitely think about the type of knowledge we are targeting, the interactivity level, and it depends on the headset you're using, the kind of VR you're using, and most important, the experience design.